first let's reassemble the things that we took apart. First up is the extractor depressor plunger. Alright, this goes together, just press fit like that. Then the spring-loaded bearing pushes in the other side. Push that in, that's a pretty tight fit. Alright, that's all back together. You don't need to lubricate any of these parts, especially the firing pin does not require lubrication. Alright, so this goes on just like this. It doesn't matter which way this spring goes. Put this spring on. Okay, so you want to start with this all the way up in the slot like this. Kind of hold it in place and then push the spring down. You want to get the spring down past this big part here. Alright, now this is a tricky part. Put one of these cups in there like that. Put this side in here. Okay, hold those kind of tight together and gently release that spring. Okay? That's tricky. You don't have to take this apart, and I wouldn't recommend it unless you really want to. And this one's simple. This doesn't really stay in there too good, but that just kind of sits in there. It doesn't really stay. So just kind of keep those together. Keep an eye on that spring. Alright, now we're going to put the slide back together. Alright, this spring goes in there. Notice the way that notice the orientation that I'm putting this in. Okay, it goes in this way. It goes in this way. So you want to hold that in place. Now take your firing pin assembly like this. Push it in here. Line this up with that notch. And it'll push forward. Alright. Kind of keep your finger on this a little bit. So one way you can test to make sure it's right. You shouldn't be able to push the tip of the firing pin out of this hole unless you're pressing this at the same time. That's the firing pin safety. Alright, so right now I'm trying to push this forward. It won't come out that hole. If I press the plunger at the same time, it should come out. Okay, and when I let go a little bit, it should pop up like that. Alright, so that's how that works. And we're going to test that later after we put everything back together as well. Alright, so now the extractor, if you look in there, there's a little hole over here, and that's where the round side of this goes into that hole. So it just kind of drops in like that. Now it doesn't want to stay right now. It's not going to stay until you put this in here. This goes in this way. Okay, this presses in here. And with a little bit of pressure on the extractor, see, there it is, and that's what holds that in place and makes it kind of pivot. After everything is put back in place, now we want to put the cover plate back on. Alright, so to put the cover plate back on, cover plate goes on like this. Now start sliding the cover plate into the slots on the bottom. Alright, the cover plate won't push in very far until you press down on the spacer here. So press down on that. Push the cover plate a little bit further. Now it's on top of the spacer, but it's still not going to go any further until you press down on the plunger. Alright, so if you just push down on the plunger, you push the cover plate a little further, remove the plunger, and then push the cover plate all the way back on. Okay, now a couple of things we want to check real quick before we move on is make sure that this moves back. It's under spring pressure, but it moves back, and when you let go, it pushes itself forward again. Make sure when you push it forward that the firing pin does not peek through the breech face unless you press this safety plunger right here. So press this down. Now it should come forward. You see that? When you let go of that plunger and you go back, now you should not be able to make it come forward again. Another test that you want to do is hold the slide, depressing this safety right here. Hold the slide like that and shake it back and forth, and you should hear that firing pin should kind of be flopping back and forth in there all on its own like that. Okay? Alright, and make sure your extractor is in there. When you press on that, it moves out a little bit under spring pressure. Alright, now you can put your Glock back together, your Glock Slide back together, and you can do a function and safety test. I'll put that link up in the corner here so you can make sure your gun is working properly. And please check out the description below. I have some of these tools that I used here and some other Glock tools down there that you can check out. And thank you for watching.